Hey, 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 it's Ruth Marquez. Welcome to Ruth and Real Estate, Market Update. Welcome to Ruth and Real Estate, where we talk about real estate market issues and things that affect our community. All right. So today we're going to talk about when people don't recognize racism in real estate or in general, right? When they a lot of times you'll hear, oh, stop being a victim. And actually, it's irritating. Actually, it's irritating because, well, personal story, when I was younger and I was like maybe in the third grade, fourth grade, I used to get picked on a lot. Well, not by everybody, but like the big person wanted to pick on me. I was quiet, I was reserved. I had to dress like a little Haitian girl. That's the culture. It is what it is. So I dressed differently from the kids, or I'd be wearing the school uniform back when nobody else was wearing uniform. So I didn't want to wear the uniform because it's like that's what the poor people wear, the uniform. But I had no choice. So I was like, all right, well, I had to wear it. Even though it wasn't, I don't think we were poor because Haitian people save money. That's the secret. They'll tell you they're poor, but they got some money in their pocket. All right. So, but they just don't wear it. So the culture is to not wear the money. So anyway, the kids would pick on me and whatever. But one thing I would remember was I did not like the bystanders that were letting this person say all of these things to me. And I was like, you see what they're doing to me. Obviously, if any one of y'all would tell them to stop, they would stop. If any one of y'all be telling them chill, she's with me. If any one of them would have stood up for me, it would have cut it down dramatically. But because nobody wanted to say anything, and I'm like boiling mad, like sometimes like little like girls, what they'll do is they'll talk a lot of trash. Like you're standing right there, look at her shoes, look at this. Like they'll say a lot of things, and what would happen is I would let it go and slide for months and months and months. Like they're not talking to you, mind your business, don't say nothing, da, da, da. And then one day, oh my friends, one day I was ready. One day I was ready, and on the day I'm ready, that means I'm ready to fight. So anyway, I just didn't like the fact that people would act like, oh, well, why are you being a victim? Or when you tell the teacher they had no empathy, they didn't care, they're not going to help, they're like, oh, well, get it together. I said, well, you would be able to do better in school and you would have friends and be invited to sit here and do this with them if you didn't have this bully on your back. If you didn't have somebody always trying to put you down or trying to make you look stupid or whatever, or even the mental stress of it all. I mean, nobody was going to put their hands on me, but I knew that one day I had to probably fight them, and I did. Your girl, and that's just the way that it was. I went to school in West Philadelphia. As a yeah, the fight stopped when I went over to the suburbs only because I said I wasn't going to fight anybody anymore, and that carried on. That attitude, do you want to fight this and then the third? I was like, listen, I'm too grown for this. Until I got 14, I was like, enough is enough. I know the game. But I used to be very mad. Like, why is this happening to me? And am I getting picked on? And what is wrong with me? Like mentally, it's like, well, the person, it will always be the fat girl. I'm sorry. It was either a girl that was big or it was a girl that ran her mouth and had a horrible attitude. For some reason, they determined they was not going to like me, and I wasn't hanging out with a group of people, so I was an easy target. I want you to remember all of these things as I bring this up. So now we're gonna look at this video. We're gonna talk where this is somebody I actually respect, but however, I think what's happening in this video is that there are biases that's happening. And this is the part where it's not fair in America, where it's like, okay, something bad is happening and you want to act like you're coming in with your preconceived notions. Now, a lot of times when black people are talking, y'all need to just sit back and chill because a lot of us don't even know the history of it all, and we're just spreading it and saying, hey, did you know this, and did you know that, and did you know, and that's how we're educating each other. So it's not for everybody to chime in and say this and say that. All right. So um people want to say just because we're talking about it that we're stuck in the past and we're victims and this and that and the third. And I'm like, it's really not my fight. I'm Haitian, but I'm here. My children were born here. So their ancestry is from here. So what I would like to say is I really respect people, but sometimes I don't know if it's the messenger or what it is, but you could start to see uh, why racism still stays rampant, because a lot of people sit on the sidelines and pointing the finger and saying, no, you're just being a victim. But nobody's bullying you. Nobody's pushing you around. And the whole point of the whole, like, and I'm not for Black Lives Matter because of like all the scandal behind it. But it's a reminder every single day. And when I have a cop behind me, it's a reminder every single day psychologically of where you always stand in society. And that was the whole point of racism, to let you know where you stood in society. So it's like the mind game continues. So for all the people that just don't understand, if you're not going to do your history, if you're not going to listen, if you're not going to learn, if you're not going to find out, stop coming with these very stubborn opinions that you know it all, and you can speak for all Black people, and you're just talking about your one family. He's going to talk about how his immigrant family came here and they did this and they did that. Woo woo. My family was immigrant family too. Oh yeah, they did try their hand at this and they tried their hand at it, but it's not that easy. Everybody don't make it. If everybody could make it, everybody in America would be entrepreneurs. Okay, so why are you expecting this superhero of a people to come through and just, we're supposed to be just like shining overnight, but everybody else can't, because it's not that easy. And I would say, even, why is it that y'all, meaning non-Black people, are not super shining when you have so much access to capital and you don't get denied like Black people do? That's what I would say, because I saw a lot of, oh, this is victim, victim, victim. Now I'm going to get to the victim mentality part. I'm going to address that too. But like I said, shaming the person that is getting the harm is horrible. But at the same time, right? And I can relate this to relationships too. I used to think, I'm gonna give you a little room for relationships. I used to be like, because I see the women, like men doing, Black men doing Black women so wrong. And then I saw once I did enough, I mean, digging, soul searching, and everything, I was like, oh, no, I've been peep this. I was like, oh, they're not treating you wrong. That's how they treat you. That's how they treat you, sis. They treat you like that because they see who you are. They ain't treating me like that, right? They might try me, right? But they're not treating me like that because it's like, oh, if the men are seeing the devaluing that women are doing to themselves, then they're going to devalue you. So that woman, she can't sit there and say, I'm a victim and I get treated so poorly. And what's wrong with all the men? I'm good, they're bad, and that's that. Okay. That's the victim mentality as well. But at the same time, it's like, if you look at it from the other end, that man can't take you seriously because you're not exhibiting wife qualities. That doesn't mean, and the majority of them, if they see that you're, especially not that you're just a wife, but his wife, he gonna stop all the nonsense in the BS. You only got to get it right once. And my point in saying that is, yes, there is a victim mentality because there's something being done wrong to the person. But does it mean that they don't have a part to play? Does it mean that you don't take accountability and responsibility? Yes, you should. You should still take accountability and responsible for the part you play, not in the past, in today, and in the future. We're going to talk about that. Okay. So let me just play this video without further ado. Without further ado. Okay. Here we go. So we were talking about basically systemic racism, and we're going to talk about these appraisals. But watch all of this. Hold on. This is crazy. I'm just going to give you a snippet. Ooh, child. That's all I can say.
Economics is a different story. No, it's not. But I agree with you that we need to get the financial situation. No. And you're making the mistake. Went to Mississippi. No, you're making the mistake. Here's the mistake you're making. 27 out of 30. Here's the mistake you're making. When you say.
Okay, another bias that I see in this conversation is one is a Republican and one is a Democrat. Let me get this out the way. Black people have been voting Democrat for a very long time and nothing's been done. Talking about the progress is slow and this and then the third. And that's why it's all going to tie in at the end. But he has a point. But I think in Patrick's mind, he was like, I don't care what this man says to me, how he's going to spin this. He cannot convince me. He's like, you just didn't do nothing. You didn't do enough, which is true. Like, I believe in this, the way the people are playing games with people, making it seem like, oh, we're doing this for you, we're doing that, and they're doing nothing. They're doing nothing. I'm sorry. I mean, they might do, can't say nothing, it's extremely, but they're doing the bare minimum, I would say. If that. So he is right on that.
A black conservative might show on this whole issue.
So his question was, why is it, and then housing is going to run right into it. He said, why is it that if y'all, the Democrats, is doing so good, why is it all the states that y'all in charge of, black people not doing good, pretty much? And then he went to money. He's like, what that got to do with crime? We talking about crime. He's like, got everything to do with crime, because it's true. When you're poor, he's going to have more crime.
When you say crime,
that's anywhere.
You have to then say, okay, what creates crime? No, what creates crime? What creates crime? When people are not doing well financially. What else? Your surrounding environment. You're around. And what else? Pick up habits. What else? Bad policies. No. What else? See, you're different policies. But it is bad policies. Wait a minute. No. If I lead a company, the underpinning. Hold on, wait. If I run a company, and I'm the CEO of the company, if the company improves or doesn't improve is based on my policies. I'm the head running the company, the department. If it doesn't improve, it's because of me. So let me. What else would it be?
That's true. Accountability.
When you talk about what is the underpinning of crime, John Hope Bryant, founder of Operation Hope, this is what he said. He said, "Show me a community where you've seen a riot with a credit score 700 or higher." The reality is, when you talk about crime in this country, you're talking about economics, you're talking about education, you're talking about housing, you're talking about health. Show me areas where you do not have high crime. I'm going to show you areas that don't have the same, aren't as compact. That's first. What you have.
And I think we made good points.
Crime in places. You then look at what are the numbers of people there, what are the pockets there, what are those communities, and how did those communities, how were they created literally not over 20, 30 years, but literally over 50, 75, 100 years.
Now, this is what I would say to that. For people to be like, oh, well, just figure it out, you'll be fine. But you cannot undo, like I was thinking about it, I was like, wait, so even let's say they say redlining is over, and redlining is like them drawing the line saying, we're basically the whole real estate industry was in cahoots. They were pushing people into certain neighborhoods, and then they were putting a red line and saying either these people are not going to get served, or we're going to put this like we're going to put our funds elsewhere, right? We basically a way to not give Black people access to white communities. All right. So hey, how are you? If you're on here, say hi. If you're watching on the replay, hashtag replay. All right. So for people to be like, oh well, like if you think about it, everybody's already in a house. Everybody has land. Everybody is already settled. How can you fix a problem that was set up for hundreds of years? And every time they're either passing it on to their kids, and then they might be selling it to each other. And how is a person that has to come from the bottom, right? Bottom, because when you have to know your history when you have these conversations, because immigrants came here with, it was like a welfare system for immigrants. They got free land, they got slaves, they got a bunch of stuff when they came here. And they was like, just come here and just do, we just need to do this and that. Just come here. We got free land, we got this and that and the third. So for you to be like, okay, you give them this huge, other people a huge advantage, but in the law it stated that you're supposed to give these black people 40 acres and a mule. Never gave them a dime, never gave them anything. And then you're like, and then the homes are built, everybody's set, the neighborhoods are set. Then the black people try to go ahead and have their own cities and own towns. And what do? You either burn them down, you put a lake in its place, you put a park in its place. So all of that success, or you put a highway in its place. And then you're gonna say, oh, you guys are just playing the victim. That is how ignorant people can be, because why? What does it affect you? You don't care. You just move on with your life because there's nothing stopping you. Now watch this. If it wasn't so important, why do y'all got to go to therapy and deal with your childhood trauma if you were supposed to just get over it and move on? I'm not saying use it as an excuse. I am saying that is something that you have to deal with every single day, the past. And if your past was just great, then you would have a head start against the person that had a horrible past. So for people that just act like it don't, oh, whatever, like you cannot undo what redlining already did. Now the black neighborhoods are already established. That has everything to do with real estate, what we're talking about. Racism is all through real estate. Now we're gonna talk about the appraisers and how you can lose $100,000 to $300,000 because you have a picture of black art or your black face on the wall. So you basically are half price because you're black. And that's in the areas where the prices were high. And that's how you transfer wealth. So let's move on. But he's trying to act like, oh, well, none of that matters. This is how people talk when they brushing things off, huge issues off. Yeah, we had all these problems yesterday, whatever. But you only had 50 years out. You had 400 years in. You have to undo 400 years and 50 years and be like, well, why haven't y'all been any further? As a group, yeah, there's going to be people that's high. There's going to be people that found an avenue and found a way. There's going to be people. You see successful black people all the time. But as a group, right, you are the weakest link. The people that just couldn't get it, that just couldn't get all the pieces together because they had other issues going on, i.e., single parent, welfare, being stuck, like your environment. Now we're breeding this handicap and then passing it on to the kids. And then the same thing keeps happening and keeps happening. We have to break these generational curses. So if you do embrace, I'm a victim, all that, you're gonna be stuck in that. So I got both sides. I understand both sides, but you cannot sit there and act like it doesn't exist. Like racism doesn't exist. You cannot act like it didn't exist in real estate, that there's not systemic racism. It's going on all the time. Like there's literally countries suffering right now because of the color of their skin. Because the political forces that be won't leave them alone. And you want to say racism doesn't exist. It's something we live with. It's something that we deal with. If you're not the one being bullied, if you're not going to say nothing, right? And then we're back to my bullying story. The people that would laugh at what the joke the bully was saying, I'll be like, really? You going to laugh? I was mad at the people that was quiet, but I'm more mad at the people that's laughing. I'm like, really going to do that? You're like you are the same as him or her. You are the same as them in my eyes. Because you see me, I would have stood up for somebody else, but that's not how people are these days. It's like, oh, well, it's not my problem. But let me go ahead and open my mouth about it as well. So here we go. I'm gonna let him talk. I'm gonna let him talk. Don't get started. Calm down.
That was Jim Crow. How many years does it take to change? What are you talking about? How many years does it take? Okay, when you have how long no, you change.
He said, how many years does it take to change?
First of all, you're talking about a black in America. How long? When you have had.
Okay, here's the difference. Okay, what I think is going on in this conversation. This man is a CEO, right? So he's like, oh, when I have my management team, I don't give them that long. They got to get it together. But you have resources for them. If you were like, hey, yo, y'all all gonna come here for free and work and y'all gonna make some change, it wouldn't work. There's nobody pouring resources into our community to be like, all right, you're gonna make this work. No. And when you have a company, it's totally different. It's not the same thing. I understand the accountability part, but you're saying, oh, how long does it take to change? How long does it take to change? And he has a good point on the other end, but I'm more so on Roland's side when it comes to the history part. I don't like how some of his answers are, and I don't like how Patrick is very. You're gonna see how he's being. He's like he doesn't want to open his mind to anything that this man has to say. But these are all facts. That's where you. It's like yes, Roland is being emotional. Don't get me wrong. He's getting emotional. He's sounding very passionate. However, when you're sitting, you're not opening to the information, and you're just like, whatever. I'm not gonna take any excuses. This is darn like what? Like this is like literally you're like, why isn't there all these changes? And now I understand he's talking about politics, but I'm just talking about the black community. And like there's a mother's leading the household and they gotta deal with working and taking care of children, and you want all of this progress and change, and a lot of people are in survival mode.
Yeah. Okay. Walk through 243 years of slavery, 92 years of Jim Crow, and then you get to 1970 when you are technically fully free. You can't act like all of that before did not impact. The issue that you're having now have to do with not Democratic or Republican.
One more other thing that we had to face right after the 1970s, feminism. That's the part that never that doesn't get into the conversation. Feminism have you kick your man out so you can get a check. So now you can't even compete. Everything's thrown apart after that. On top of that, so we're still facing another war. Y'all see how the men don't like feminists. And it's not about equal rights. It's about when the extreme feminism, when they're trying to be like, we're better than men.
Republican policies, it has to
and
do
I know
with
I'm right.
literally white supremacy and Jim Crow in America. We are still, to act as if we are still not dealing with that. How did housing discrimination take place in this country?
All right, so there you
You
go.
know who created it? The realtors. They
Don't blame them.
apologize for it. Why are you going away from the question?
Somebody said this. To basically like years ago. It was I wouldn't be able to be a realtor. What now? That's crazy. That's crazy, but that's real. That is real. This world that just existed is just existing for us. That's crazy.
No, because here's the deal, though. You don't want to deal with what creates crime area. You got to realize it.
I understand where Roland is coming from, but it is sounding like every single time we're gonna be like, why isn't this something done? We're gonna be like, but it was created. It was created. And it's like, I just think that nobody's putting money or effort into changing things.
I'm dealing with the real truth. How they create it. What you're dealing with is, they're democratic areas. What I'm dealing with is how do you deal with the historical reality of neighborhoods that simply can't be just, we elected one person and then it's going to change. Bro, it doesn't work that way. Bro, I'm Middle Eastern. Okay, I was born in Iran. Okay, my mother's a communist. My dad's an imperialist. Okay, escape and go to Germany. I lived at a refugee camp for 2 years. Okay, with people who are Yugoslavian, Czech, Albanian at the time, and they're all leaving for a reason. I come to the States. Okay, I'm a welfare baby. I'm a food stamp baby. Okay, just letting you know, my parents are divorced twice in 20 years. I'm going to Glendale High School. I have a lunch ticket I would sell because I don't have any money. I'm 6'1", 130 pounds. That should tell you the fact that we don't come from a lot of money. One day, I'm in the school, and my teacher starts talking about politics. Up until that point, when I think about politics, all I think about is divorce. Because I think about my mom and dad arguing all the time. I have a lot of pain linked to politics at the time. And the teacher's obviously the teacher is going to be a Democrat because she's presenting how rich people are this rich. I'm like, okay, great, rich people are bad. So I come home. I obviously 13 to 1. That's the number. That's dude. I had a whole lot of damn Republican teachers in my life. Well, I like stats, and the stats are 13 to.
One thing about Roland, he's not just he has to debate every single point unnecessarily. That was just not even. Oh, you had a Democrat, I had a Republican. Now they talking
One
stats.
is
Watch this,
Democrats
it's
to
important.
Republican. You know the stats. So I come home and I say, Mom, are we Republicans or Democrats? And she said, we're Democrats. I said, tell me why. She says, because the Democrats are for the poor, Republicans are for the rich. So my mom says. You know what I told her? I said, when I grow up, I want to be a Republican. Not because I want to be a Republican. I don't know what the policies are. So first of all, who's actually for the rich and the poor? Who? Who is for the rich and the poor? She said Republicans for the rich because of the poor. Is that you say you love? Is it true or not? First of all, is it true or not? Whether that's true, statistically, more rich people on the Democratic side today. Than no. You said who are for, not who's rich, but who are they for? The policy. But Roland, this is you. You're smart. No, your mom said it. I understand, but you're a smart guy, bro. Listen, when I watch you, you're not a dummy. You're very smart. Okay. So sometimes John Maxwell says something very important, very important that I completely held to myself, and every time I break this, I don't like it. He said, the moment you learn sales and you learn persuasion, okay? The moment you learn the ability how to persuade, you, me, we learn how to persuade. He says, be very careful to not go one step above that, which is to manipulate just to win all arguments, because you can. You can win any argument if you want to. You can play devil's advocate and flip the argument, play the Republican side, and you make one hell of an argument to beat a Democrat, because you can do that. You have the ability, you have the ability as well. I don't want to do that. What I'm asking you right now is the following. Results. Today, 27 out of 30 cities that are ran by Democrats are the highest crime in America. That's stat. What states are they in? What are those states? The states are different than the community. New York, Chicago, no, but that's not the thing. The state is the community. The city is where.
I think he's about to make a really good point.
The city you're in is what you can touch. Every year you come up and you say, re-elect me. I can help. State. Listen, I am born and raised in Texas, Houston, Clinton Park. To act as if. Let's stop voting for mayors. They're a waste of time because they can't do anything. First of all,
I don't like them talking all over each other.
Let me finish my thought. I am born and raised in Houston, Texas. Grew up in Clinton Park neighborhood. To act as if what happens in Austin does not have an impact on Houston is crazy. You're making excuses now. No, I'm not. You're making excuses. Okay, here's the deal, though. See, it's real easy to say it's excuses when I'm stating facts. And the point I'm stating is... That's not a fact. That's just an opinion. No, it's a fact. The state of Texas significantly has an impact economically, educationally on what happens in Houston. That's a fact. Yeah, but as somebody who, as a kid, traveled with my mom to rallies and events with the Metropolitan Organization in the state capitol, I understand. Did you grow up rich? Who? Did you grow up rich? No, my parents didn't go to college. How are you rich then? What do you mean how? How are you rich? Here's how. How are you rich? No, here's how. Yeah. Because first and foremost, the neighborhood that I grew up in it was one of the first master plan communities by HUD. What you had in my neighborhood was you had folks, first of all, I had mom and dad, one, who also married, hell yeah, they're still married for 6 years, who absolutely.
Okay, so one thing we will have to pull out from here is his mom and dad were married. We are having an issue in our community. About 24% of Black women will be married, okay, in their lifetime. I didn't even say stayed married, but will be married. So that's one. And also, it has been known that when you have mixed incomes, that community does better. Mixed incomes does better. So, like the doctor can live down the street from, the postal worker, from the welfare recipient, whatever, all in one. But the kids grow up to see that they had a doctor or they had some people with money. But watch this. So that's the communities that he grew up in. So he had two advantages right there.
Believe in education. Now, what I recognize is, so for me, in my household, what my parents emphasized. Never went to college. Then my brother went to Texas A&M. I went to Texas A&M. My sister went to Texas A&M. And so that was our house. What I recognize is that somebody who is next door or across the street or around the corner did not have the situation that I had. Now, I totally get that. What I don't do is be arrogant enough to say, well, I did this, why can't you? Because I understand that not everyone has the exact same setup, the same situation. What I'm talking about, and this is again, but why not give that story of inspiration to say you can get out of it? First of all, you say, why not? Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, you clearly have never watched my show. When what I talk about consistently are these very issues. I don't sit here and go do doom and gloom. First of all, every single Tuesday on my show, I feature actual Black-owned businesses. Every single Wednesday, I feature African Americans who are tech companies. I love it. Every Friday, I actually feature something called Education Matters, folks who are in the education space, school choice. I got HBCU Connect, so I do all of that. But one second. But you know why I said that? Let me tell you why I said that. Because you said. I'm not the one that says, look at me, I got out, so can you. That's what you said. No. Here's why I say that. Because it is arrogant
egos.
When, as an individual, I'm assuming everyone else's situation is the same. That's first. Two.
And it's very important, okay? It's very important. You know what's so interesting? When, as a realtor, I get the phone call of, okay, you sold such and such property. So now the appraiser contacts us and says, oh, was there seller assist in this? Was this the price that you sold it for? Anything else I should know? Because it matters, because that means if this house sold for $220, but it had $10,000 of seller's assist, and the other house sold for $220, they're not the same thing. They're not starting from the same place. So one sold for $210 and the other sold for $220. It's very important that we all have that baseline of, okay, we all start in the same place. Okay, you started, yours is lower than mine, higher than mine, all of that. But if you're not starting from the same place, how can you expect the same exact results? How many times have you seen kids in the same household? They got the same parents, right? But they ended up totally different from each other. So there's dynamics within dynamics. So it's not to explain away the Black experience, but it's like when you first understand it, when you can tell me what happened to those Black cities, when you can tell me what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, when you can tell me about the Black Wall Street, when you can tell me about the Emancipation Proclamation, when you can tell me why why Lincoln brought up slavery as an issue so he can win the war. When you can tell me why, the people that own slaves, they inherited slaves, and some of them act like they didn't even want the slaves at the time that they had them. When you understand the full picture of it, when you understand that they didn't even want to let the slaves free because they knew that society would annihilate them, when they couldn't even free slaves when they wanted to, because that will put the slaves in danger. Once you can tell me from that perspective, and then you can say, all right, now at this point, y'all being victims. You don't even understand it. You're speaking from an ignorant place. And then what I don't like is when people are talking facts and they're speaking facts. They understand the whole thing and they're telling you something and you're like, bull crap. Did you research it? Did you educate yourself before you had this decision? Before you decided to judge a whole entire community? Okay, because as soon as somebody does something to the other people, oh my gosh. Well, I was in the Wawa. Let me give you my story time, okay? Here's my story time. So I'm in Wawa. It's something so simple. And this white guy comes in. He's like, yo, like, do you know what happened to such and such last night? My cousin got stabbed or something. And I want to find this guy. I'm going to get this guy. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. So I'm like, and I'm like, that's kind of weird, but rightfully so. This is what happens if somebody does you wrong. I'm just laughing because I'm like, So you mean to tell me the KKK was started because they always thought that black people was going to fight back and kill all the white people, and they never did. And they went and started terrorizing black people and started saying, "Oh, it's because we don't want a race war." They started a race war just so they can say, "Oh, we got to put these people in their place." And then you want to tell me like, "Oh, okay, like y'all need to get it together." Oh, when we're on a tree somewhere, when we're getting burnt up alive, or when we're getting thrown in jail for no reason. When we supposed to get up and change it? Like the majority is acting this way, and it's set up to be the majority on purpose. Now, let me get back on. So my point was with the Wawa guy, white guy, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get the guy. I'm gonna get the guy. He ain't say I'm gonna call the cops. He said I'm gonna get the guy myself. If everybody did that, like, oh, would that be better than saying, wow, this is not fair. We want to see some changes. We want to like being actual human beings and actually trying to be diplomatic about the situation. It's not working, but it's not good enough. You want to say, oh, you're being a victim. You're being a victim. It's like really lack of empathy that I think. But okay, let's move on.
It's also arrogant to then not actually study and look at
Thank you.
how from a macro level.
Yes.
See, you're describing a micro level. There's always, you can always have that
one
singular
story,
individual or this person or that person or his family. That's micro. But I'm talking.
And next, in the future, he's going to be like, you're just telling me one story. They constantly flip-flop their points. He just said, you're telling me about one story, about one immigrant family that came in, but you're not talking about the micro level of it. Then later on, when he says, that's why black people getting ripped off in the appraisal process, he said, you're telling me one story out of all of these people, and I'm supposed to believe that. Where's the data? He gives them the data, and then he says, BS.
Talking about is macro issues. And what I'm saying is, when I look at communities, that's not micro, that's macro. Even within the African American community, when you dealt with Jim Crow, you couldn't live anywhere else. You literally could not live anywhere else.
And he said, what did he say he's from? Did he say he's from Ukraine? He didn't say he's from Ukraine, but wherever he's from, did all of them become super rich and this big, company and hundreds of millions of dollars like you? No. So why would you expect that? Like, I wish people would compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. Why would you expect that from like? And here's the thing that bothers me the most is like you heard this somewhere. You heard this somewhere because everybody's saying the same thing. When everybody's saying the same thing, you heard it somewhere. Did you know the Daughters of the Confederacy went and changed the textbooks? They went and changed the textbooks and they tried to make it appear like slaves was just chilling and drinking lemonade, having a good old time. It wasn't even that bad. What? How you just gonna say slaves just chilling and drinking lemonade and having a good time, and they would just do their work and sing songs and act like all the violence didn't happen and all the other things didn't happen? Because you want to brainwash people and you're putting that in the kids' heads. And then I was like, oh, it's making sense now. It's making sense why people think it's not existent. Like, why people thinking it's not like how it's a less than what it is because when you have textbooks, right, that are, and then it says, wait, every time the Confederate States the book didn't agree with them, they said not in the Confederates' favor. So now you're competing. The United States was competing between making the truth known and the Confederates happy, right? Your brothers from down south. So it's a very complicated situation. And now you can understand why a lot of people grow up with a wrong mindset because it was planted in the children's mind. So when we're sending our kids to school to learn lies, and we learn, and they're changing the history books and they're making it seem so favorable. Why don't we have black people have why isn't black people in charge of history books so that it can be the real truth, not the fabricated version of the truth? It should be only black teachers teaching black history so we know it's fair. I'd be happy with a cop full of black. Well, being as though what happened with the black cops the other day, I said this a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I wouldn't say it today, but I said, wait, maybe in all black cities it should be all black cops, so we don't have to worry about this white cop killed this black cop, and then now we're seeing that they got black people planted to kill black people. It's crazy. If it wasn't so complicated and dark in every sector of the, I'm like, oh my gosh, they got this, oh my gosh, they got that. If it wasn't so many things, then we could focus on just building tomorrow. But we're so busy trying to dodge the same dumb stuff, same dumb comments, the same dumb actions. And today it's affecting the prices of our homes and it's affecting our wealth. Imagine you, two families, one's black and one's white, sit there and works their whole entire life. Both of their homes are worth $500,000, and then the black family gets a $350 appraisal, but a white family gets a $500 appraisal. So do you think that could we have rent a white couple so that we could put them in the house so they can get the appraisal, so they can get the proper appraisal that they can get? Should we have a service? Should I start a company? So hey, rent some white people so that way we can have some fair treatment. Why should that even have to happen? You're losing your wealth. That's the same wealth that you would put your child in college with. That's the same wealth that you would have helped your daughter buy a house or pay for her wedding. That's the same wealth that you use to start that business. So you're finding a way to scoop it out of the black person's hand, but not the white person. Okay, so then the grandfather then thing. Oh, you thought this is Black History Month and this is in real estate. We're gonna go in. So you mean to tell me the grandfathered in clause? So let's say the slaves came out and they could not. They were supposed to be voting, right? First they tried to charge them money. These people came out with nothing, absolutely nothing. So now they were charging them money to vote. Then they also said, and this is showing you, once you don't know your history, once you don't know what was done in this country, then you cannot understand what the severity of the situation is. That's why we have to assume everybody's racist, because you don't know what angle is going to come at you the next time. So, and I'm not saying everybody's racist. A lot of people are not. So they basically said, okay, if you can't read and write, you have to take this literacy test. By the way, we're the ones that made up the law. Hold on. I got you. By the way, we're the ones that made up the law that you shouldn't teach a slave how to read and to write, right? That's illegal. But now that we let y'all free, we're gonna make sure you can read and write before you can vote. And then, but what about the same people? Everybody back in the day, everybody wasn't reading and writing. So white people weren't reading and writing either. This is the part where it's always messed up, because it's like the same human issues that happen with black people happen with white people, but they always get a pass. So they gave these white people a pass. They said, if your grandfather could vote, then you can vote. And that's where you get grandfathered in. And I've been saying it, and I'm like, oh no. Oh no, you get grandfathered in, meaning that if you, all you have to do is be white and it works for you. What? Anyway. But so that was a little known fact. There you go. Let's move on. We're gonna get into this appraisal in a second. I think that's what they said. All right. I think I'm good. All right. So, no. Wait. There's a place.
Money, then you were black and broke. You were literally living in the same neighborhood. After Jim Crow age with integration, what then happened? Those African Americans who were middle class, upper middle class, began to move away. What then began to happen was you had areas where poverty increased even more so.
Why move away? Because if you care about the community, why not stay there and change it?
Well, first of all, does anybody else move?
What do you mean?
Who the hell else don't move? How do you think suburbs were created?
Wait a minute.
What do you mean? How do you think white flight was created?
But
so everybody else get to move, but we can't move?
But if you act like you care about the community,
guess what?
Stay there.
But I'll answer your question. Do you know why? Because when African Americans living in black neighborhoods, they also had economically depressed housing values, and the reality is they were not able to
change it. Help change it.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I am.
Okay,
I'll give you an idea. Are you familiar with Palmdale?
I'm gonna need you to be drug tested. Seriously.
Yeah.
Do you even know today We've done the stories in Florida when somebody's black selling their house.
Here we go.
The appraisers will come in and literally give them a value $100,000 to $300,000 less because they're black. You know that's actually happened, right?
You'll take one story and say that.
Oh my
When
God!
he said that,
On how many
I was
occasions has that-
screaming. I'm not gonna hold you. Wait, I'm not even gonna hold you. When he said that, you take one story, I was like, this is what it's like to be like, when you're closed-minded, it's just so frustrating. Why am I even talking to you? Because you don't even care. Just say I don't care. Let's say I don't care. Yeah. It's whatever I thought it was. Not I studied this. Not that I learned all of these things. And that's what I'm trying to say. When people say like, oh well, some black people don't respect other black people and this and that, it's because they don't understand the historical context of everything. People are working on, people are do you see what's going on social media? Black people making money. But even with that, this is our first time getting money. First generation, you're going to make mistakes financially. You're going to think you can buy this and buy that and all of these things, and you don't need a man anymore. And it's like all of these combinations is like a huge fire. And it's just like, we still, just like if you had new money, and that's why they call it new money, because you're going to make mistakes because you have new money. So don't say no progress has been done. And then when you do have progress, you got to learn the rules of the game so you can keep your wealth. But if somebody's always trying to take your wealth, no matter what you do, that's crazy. It's mind-boggling. And he said, oh, you only got one story. But just now, I told you about the one he was talking about before. He was talking about his one family and how they made it, and not, oh, that counts. Since his one family made it, now millions of black people should have made it too. But now when they say, well, this is a huge problem, he said, well, you only got one.
That happened.
Okay.
Are you serious?
Do you think a
He said,
message
"Good
like,
drug
Okay, why don't you go ahead and Google? Why don't you go ahead and Google?
how many times has that happened? I believe it's happened, but how many
No,
times has
wait
that
a minute.
happened?
The New York Times literally
The
just
New York
did
Times.
a story talking about the systemic racism that exists within housing appraisals. This is a fundamental problem. I'm trying to see. You're living in a different reality.
What
Yeah.
progress are you making by saying that?
So
Like,
progress.
hey, yo.
So what you're
Hey, yo. Okay, watch this. This is how I grew up. The person on the other end of the conversation saying racism doesn't exist. You give them examples, they don't believe you, and it's like you're still in la la land. That's like saying good men don't exist. And it's good men everywhere. But you keep saying they're not good. And when we show you racism everywhere, you keep saying it's still not real. Really a shame. But it's just a lack of, it's just ignorance.
I'm trying to end that. Do you know how inherent? Okay, hold on. You said you're Middle Eastern, right?
You're trying to.
Hold on. You said you're Middle Eastern, right?
Yes.
How would you feel? How would you feel?
Yes.
If
I think there's a lack of trust in he's like, oh, he's a politician. He's a liar. He's coming with that bias and it's showing so hard. I wish sometimes you got to play devil's advocate, even if you don't believe what that person believes, because it would have been a better conversation versus I'm frustrated that you're not getting this part.
you're selling your home, you've got a home that you know,
Right.
you put upgrades in it, and you know your home is worth $500,000. And somebody comes into your home, and they see your photos,
Right.
and they see your family, and then they go back and they go $350,000. You go, what the hell?
So you
Wait,
tell
wait,
that,
wait,
you tell that story.
wait, one
You
second,
tell
one
that
second, one
story
second.
to get people to
No,
be convinced that
no.
that's happening.
Yeah,
It's
he's
Out of
actually
1,000 appraisals,
Oh my God.
out of 1,000 appraisals, how many
What
times
are
does
you
that happen?
doing?
Out of 1,000
Pull the
appraisals, how
data
many times
up.
does that happen?
You want to pull that up? You want him to pull that up?
That's your world, though. Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times does that happen? Let's just say it
It
happens.
is a significant issue in America.
Oh my God.
And wait, one second.
Yeah,
And
there's
then
a big difference.
he refuses to believe it because you're not going through it, so you wouldn't know. But for me, I'll be empathetic and I would be like, okay, you're Jewish or you're Armenian, or you could tell me the issues of somebody else and like, okay, let me walk a mile in your shoes for the moment and see what's going on. He refuses.
Americans have been able to actually build wealth. It has been through housing. That's been historical. And when you are black in America, this is not an opinion, this is not a perspective, it's a fact. What we have seen is when you have been unable to enter the housing industry, meaning covenants saying you can't sell to black people, then when you actually buy a home and they've been grossly undervalued, that then limits you from being able to sell your home at a higher value and now take the profits and then create a business and then be able to send your kids to college.
You forgot about the part where they are denying you the loan even before you get there. So they're used to them.
And what I'm saying to you is, when that has been persistent, when you look at the appraisals, one, when you look at inability where you're buying a house, two, all of a sudden now you see a clear way how African Americans have been impacted, not historically, but still in present day. And what I'm saying to you is, whether you are Democrat or Republican, I want that to change, because what I want
you've had 53 years. The Democrats,
when Republicans were president and in charge, they didn't change.
And like I said, both want to win, so it's not really going to be a productive conversation. But I hope you guys got the gist of it. If you watching on the replay, let me know what you think. One more thing I wanted to talk about is now he was saying something important. Okay, he was saying how he was brought up with a two-parent household. Okay, so now we're gonna see the effects of all the single-parent homes in a little bit, right? You're not seeing it right now because a lot of us still have parents that were together still, 40 years, 30 years, and all of that. Now that all of that has fell apart because of, feminism and, basically women don't need to, they enter the workforce. They feel like they don't need to be married anymore, whatever. We're going to feel the impacts of that because that just happened, right? It just happened. These women are just retiring. I told you guys on the Roots Relationship show, which is Thursdays, that like I hear the women like in the community, and I'm just starting to see, oh, my knee, wait, you wanted to work, you didn't save for retirement, you didn't want no man. Oh man, because I was like, why didn't you just marry? She's like, I've been with him for 10 years. I said, why you didn't get married? He stayed at his place, I stayed at my place. And she decided not to get married. And now she's complaining about her knee. She's about to have a knee surgery. She has no retirement. She has to work. Like, we're going to see the fallout of all of this stuff now. And on top of that, we have, already, I remember seeing this video, and they were like, I think they blindfolded everybody, and everybody started of all races on the line. And they said, if you had if you had a two-parent household, step forward. If you had this, if you had that, and you would see all of the advantages. And when everybody took their things off, the white people were all the way at the close to the finish line, and the black people were so far back. And he said, and this is what having a 400-year advantage gives you, right? So if you and it was like, if you've never been stopped by the car, if you've never been this, if you've never been that, move forward. And that's what it's like, And so when he was saying like, oh, me, and I'm just like, I do feel like an exception. I do, because one, I have Haitian parents. I have Haitian parents, two-parent household, Haitian parents. So we did not buy into the American culture of consumerism. We buy everything. We gotta look nice. We gotta show. It's not enough to look nice. You gotta have a label on your back every single day. You gotta have the best sneakers, best this, best that, and then go home and y'all can't afford nothing, or you just at zero, or you're living paycheck to paycheck. But part of our values is not all of that, because we don't come from that. That's not important. That we have real issues in, like, hey, the electric goes down at a certain time. I don't know. I've never been to Haiti, so I can't tell you. But It's just not a consumerism thing. Not only like Americanized Haitians go through that, but yeah, it's not that. So also, you could be stuck in your present. Somebody else could be stuck in the past and stuck in the present. Like I said, you have issues, new issues now, where we have to deal with doing all of this, because there were high marriage rates. Black communities were doing well. That's what they never talk about. And I find it very interesting that people never want to talk about how good the Black communities were doing right after slavery. They came up like this. They had Black Wall Street. They had way more stuff than we have right now. But if every time you do something, people are gonna burn down your entire town. You're gonna burn. I want to see how many other communities are gonna rise back up. They did one little thing at Wawa, and Wawa completely took its foot off the gas in Philadelphia, and they said, "We're not coming back anymore. We're done with all of this." So if Wawa, a very powerful corporation, is like, "I'm tired of this," imagine Black people. Imagine Black people. Every single time, it's always an issue. Literally. We used to get free air, all that stuff. They're like, "Look, if the machine breaks, it's gonna stay broken." I'm like, "Damn, why don't do it like that?" They close all the stores. Wawa used to be open like all night long. Like your benefits and your motivation and your enthusiasm is going to die down. You just got to keep on with every generation. Start again, start afresh. You're not building off of what your parents did. We all got to start all over again. And then the immigrants have this thing where they start something and then their kids continue it. They have a store, a fast food restaurant or whatever, and then the kids are at the counter. They're working hard and they want to take it over one day and continue the business and all of that. And all of us start from scratch. Every generation. You cannot compare one person to the other person because every scenario is different. But if you have a culture full of single parents trying to survive, that's a good way to stay in the same position for a very long time, because Maslow hierarchy of needs says you got to survive first and then you can start thinking about other things and elevating and doing all these other things. All right. So the victim mentality, right? I don't appreciate, you know, other cultures, other people not understanding the full scope of things. After you understand this, if that guy could have stated all the laws and all the amendments and all the things that happened, if you go and study slavery and then come back and say, "All y'all Black people are victims, y'all just acting like victims," if you did that, then okay, I'll take your victim comment. I'm a tough girl, I could take it. But if you're not studying, if you don't know and you're going by what people told you and you're not listening and you're not learning and you're not growing, then we have an issue. We have an issue. So what can we do about it? Some people find um and it was so naive to be like, just fix it. Just fix what? Like you literally can have a food program for Black kids and then the government can shut it down and say you're poisoning the kids' minds. Literally what happened to the Black Panthers. I grew up thinking that they said they was gonna kill everybody, was killing all these white people. Man, that was not what they were about. So anytime you try to do something good for yourself, imagine the government is against you. That y'all will call this a whole communist country, but this is what we probably live in: communism, and everybody else live in America. We live in a totally different world because of the color of our skin. All right, victim identity. It's very important that we don't adopt, despite everything I said prior. It's important that you don't adopt it. It don't stay in you. You don't smell victim on your skin, right? I had to tell myself I'm not a victim and I will fight for myself and I will defend myself. And then I will put the bully down if I have to. And I did many times. I had to fight that person to let them know that you're not going to do this to me anymore, right? And when you're a victim, you feel like somebody owes you something and that you don't have to do anything to change your circumstances. So it's very important that we don't adopt that regardless of what we've been through. We're warriors. I found out I was a warrior. I'm like, what? You know, Haitian people, the reason why I found out that Haitian people, the reason why we were able to overthrow them is because um um they made a mistake and they captured like enemy warriors. Like they these people were fighters, and so they fought really really hard to win their independence. So that was cool. Anyway, when it comes to appraisals, nobody is asking for, hey, I'm black, I'm going to need you to appraise my property for more. Nobody said that. What they're saying is, why do I even have to go through this? Why am I at a deficit because I'm black? Why are you doing this? You have to understand, when an appraiser says something, we have issues. When an appraiser comes back and that appraisal is not going well, it's like what they say. Now you can fight it, you could do all those things, but you're in a tough position. This person has the power to put you in a tough position, and you supposed to just suck it up. Nobody is saying, "Hey, give me more money than it's worth because I'm black, because my family was sick." Nobody said that. It's like, just treat me like everybody else. Treat me like the house down the street, like you're supposed to just do your job. But a lot of these appraisers, like, and it's so crazy to me, like it's hard to get in as an appraiser, because that means the same people are passing it down and doing the same old practices. You got to understand, a lot of stuff happens behind closed doors. But that is really it. So I was disappointed that PBD, we call him Patrick, but David, he had little to no empathy for the situation with black people. I understand that it's a winner's mentality to be like, you're not a victim, you're not a victim, but you have to understand the situation before you even say that. And I understand the frustration that Democrats ain't doing nothing, okay? I'm sorry, but they just not. I ain't saying I'm a Republican, but I'm just saying the Democrats ain't doing nothing. Um, yeah, no empathy and no acceptance for the truth. Those are facts. That is really what it is. So guys, let me know what you think about this, like, black history version of Ruth and Real Estate. Ruth and Real Estate, Ruth and Real Estate. Okay. I hope you guys like the show. Let me know in your comments below. Thank you. Bye.